No matter how hard Trump is trying, America refuses to accept that there's nothing associated with the Epstein files. Now, there's more information that has come out that the amount of video footage missing is not 1 minute, but rather 2.51 or 2 minutes and close to 53 seconds. That is quite a bit. And people are saying, wait, you have got it, your math wrong. So, this is just one of the instances where people are saying, look, you are hiding something from us. We want to know the truth. In fact, this is almost dividing the Republican MAGA group, Make America Great Again. This is the group that is very faithful and loyal to Trump. And many of them are now asking a lot of uncomfortable questions. So, where do things stand and where are we headed? That's what we're going to try and answer here. We're going to look at a few possibilities, and I'm going to just do a slide deck to show with you what is really happening. Who's Epstein? Well, Epstein is somebody who had a lot of money and he had an island and he used to fly people out to the island, and he has been accused of a lot of things by women now who used to be children and who were abused by him and all the people who were his guests. So this is the basic premise of this. This man is supposed to have committed suicide in a jail cell, but people are not buying that. So that's the first one that we're going to look at in some detail. What is metadata? Metadata is data that is associated with a particular video. I think I've told this thing in the past, right? You can look at the header to establish a few things about the video. If you're like, for example, you have a Windows or a Mac, you can go into a video file and then you can go and click on the properties and it will tell you the resolution of the video, the number of frames per second with which it was shot, all that interesting detail. So that can be called as metadata. There could be other things also. I'm just going to give you an example of what is metadata. Now, metadata analysis revealed that nearly 3 minutes of video footage were removed from the surveillance video, and this is the night before Epstein's death. Metadata analysis revealed that the Epstein jail cell video was edited in Adobe Premiere Pro with 2 minutes and 53 seconds removed from the file. Here is the data actually. The original Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell video extended past midnight, but the published version ends at 11:58 p.m. and jumps directly to 12:01:51. So that's almost 2 minutes right there. Missing segment of 2 minutes and 53 seconds, precisely the window under public scrutiny. So the footage was analyzed in great detail and they found two MP4 files, 2025-05-22, that is 22nd of May 2025, and 16:35:21 means probably 4 p.m. 35 minutes and 21 seconds, and 2025-05-22-21 12:48.mp4, and these were edited by a user with a Windows account mjcole1, and there are some people available who could be, with their last name, first name and conjugation constructed to say that this should be the person who did it. And the amount of time it took to edit it also is captured, 4:48 p.m. Eastern time, and last modified at 8:16 p.m. Eastern time on May 23rd, 2025. So the interesting thing about what happened, many system failures, only one camera was working. The Metropolitan Correction Center's DVR system crashed on July 29th, 11 days before the death, and was not fixed. The surveillance system at the facility holding Epstein was outdated, poorly maintained, and frequently malfunctioning, according to the DOJ Office of the Inspector General report. The MCC tech staff originally recorded the Jeffrey Epstein jail cell footage. FBI CART unit seized it on August 11th. This is in 2019. DOJ oversaw the investigation and the final video release, and an editor with the username mjcole1 trimmed the files in Adobe Premiere Pro before the release. Who are the names that are implicated? These are all now out in the open. You can look at the reference links to get more information if you want. Lamine Ndaye, MCC warden who ignored DVR repair requests. Officer Stowa Noel and Michael Thomas lied about making rounds. company one, which built a faulty surveillance system. The FBI took over the digital evidence. The DOJ claimed the footage was raw, and AG Pam Bondi or AG Pamela Bondi brushed it off as a system reset. Why this is evoking such a strong emotional response is because they are showing the editing markers, timeline flags typical of a post production. It means somebody took the raw footage and then took things out and just put something that appears to be like a post production video. So it's not raw. The DOJ's revelation prompted backlash even within Trump's MAGA camp, especially people like Laura Loomer and Steve Bannon, and they accused the administration of suppressing the evidence. Fair enough. Trump strongly defended Bondi and said that her administration was perfect, and he tried to dismiss the Epstein file backlash as attacks by selfish people. Now, Epstein's lawyer, attorney David Schoen, firmly rejected the existence of a client list associated with Epstein. I have to tell you a little bit now about what is also being talked about. They're saying that the Biden administration, before they demitted office, made such a mess of all the files, obfuscations, deletions, and so on and so forth, that when the Trump administration got it, they could not really put two and two together. The cogent construction of a story, somewhere they are seeing a lot of gaps. You also remember that LA fire, right? At that time, if you remember, Trump was saying, well, looks like some evidence has also been removed, because it was believed that some big Hollywood shots were also holding on to some video evidence, and all that then went poof in smoke. This is one story that's doing the rounds. Another story that's doing the rounds is that the Trump administration has a much bigger case against the deep state, that they are going to bring that in very soon, and that is something that they want to kind of create some sort of a red herring, an obfuscation, a diversion, if you will, to try and make people look here while the activity is going to take place on the other side. Now, former Trump advisor, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, has actually written an open letter to Trump, and he said, please don't call these Epstein files a hoax, because I believe, that is General Flynn, it's much bigger than politics. It's fundamentally about child abuse, and accountability, and mishandling it risks damaging both public trust and Trump's base. I think I kind of agree with General Flynn in the sense that, are we going to just condone pedophilia? That there was no red room? Have you heard of what a red room is? A red room is a place where you have two actors, maybe one adult and one child, and there are a bunch of people who are watching it, but their faces are masked, but they can tell these two actors to perform different acts. And these are all some of the perversions of these people who watch, and all this stuff is supposed to have been contained in the Epstein files. I'm just aghast at just the thought, but imagine putting some 10-year-old, 11-year-old children to unspeakable acts of sex with people probably 5 times, 6 times older than them. I mean, the thing is, the people who did all this stuff, for them, money is not an issue. A lot of power. What do you do with time? I mean, they'll never, become homeless. They don't have to have a job. These are the kind of people who are now what I would call as deep state. They don't need to work even for a day. And so they just while their time away, probably, I mean, other than scheming and trying to stay rich, how to do all these things. And all the stuff about Red Room is suddenly vanished, if you notice. In the middle, there was a lot of talk about this, and now I'm seeing that, well, Trump said there is nothing, so there must be nothing, let's move on. That's one side of the Republican Party. The other side of the party is saying, no, this needs to be probed. Somebody is hiding something, and that's what I'm trying to look at. Whether somebody committed a crime or not, the whole thing comes down to the child abuse and accountability. If you abuse a child, you have to be held accountable. Pedophilia, that's where it comes and sticks. Flynn's letter, and we are going to give you a link to that also, it starts out, respectful, but there is a pointed tone, and it says that this thing needs to be properly investigated. If there are elites that committed crimes against children, they must be held accountable. This is where I think a lot of us are having strong feelings, because many who are now women who were children and that they were mishandled, abused by Epstein and people around him, they've all come out and said things, and they have also dropped a lot of names, including big shots. And so, if there is so much evidence, what is the problem? The evidence was supposed to have been in all these files. How did all the files go missing? This is what people are talking about. They are not so concerned about whether Epstein committed suicide or was killed, but they are saying that the acts of pedophilia, whoever committed them, they need to be brought to book. This is where a lot of people feel very strongly. These are just not on. We have a society, the society has norms, and some people think that they are above all this. And those people must be brought to book. That is the main grouse of many of the MAGA faithfuls. Sure, you can say, oh, these guys are very conservative. Nothing wrong in thinking along these lines. Everybody has individuality. I think of something in a certain way, you think of it maybe in a different way, that's fine. But there are laws also. There are laws protecting children, and when those laws get abused, then whoever abused it, the abuser, must be thrown the book. That is the big deal here. Dismissing the files as a hoax, a term he used to label critics, undermines credibility and drives wedges, because it's now it's almost a week now since this thing came up, and it's not dying down. Megyn Kelly has been making a lot of noise, Steve Bannon, many other what I would call as right-wingers, hosts, they're all saying no, there is more here. Why are you hiding? Let the truth come out. So where is the problem? So one of the reasons that was supposed to have been given by Trump was that there are lots of innocent people's names that will come out, because all they did was maybe had lunch with Epstein for a day, and their lives will also be ruined. Well, I think the people should be allowed to judge for themselves. If somebody just went to have lunch with Epstein, that doesn't constitute a crime. This is just, I'm saying this personally, and so if you are a person who is seeking some business from Epstein, you might have a lunch and tell him that these are the things that I can do for you. Strictly business. So I think somewhere there, I'm still not able to accept the explanation given by the Trump administration that some innocent people's lives will be also damaged. Well, you can also have another way of putting this. You can say that the video evidence we have is of these people, and limit it to that. Those are the ones who have broken the law. And you don't have to say every name in that list to be published. You can leave it out that way also. I'm just trying to give an easy exit, something that people will be satisfied with. And Trump's labeling of supporters discussing Epstein as weaklings and dismissing the files as hoax didn't just irk Flynn, it risked splitting his core constituency. Flynn is one individual. I am one individual. I am an independent. Chances are that I might vote for the best candidate. So, point here is, did these people on the files, did they commit pedophilia? And if that was the case, is there evidence to prove that they did it? And at least those names should come out. And here is a takeaway from Flynn in his letter to Trump. He said, take action, clarify, and unify. That's what I'm also saying. Don't have to put every innocent name out there and saying that these were there in the files, but at least find out those who are guilty of a crime and put those names out and the crime, and let the law do its job. The whole thing here that irks all of us, or many of us, is that were children abused? And if so, shouldn't that be a crime? And shouldn't those people who did this be called to justice? That is the question. So he's telling Trump to stop weaponizing the issue and take concrete steps. So far, what has happened is the DOJ still says that there is no client list. Now, the the question here is, if that was the case, then why did Pam Bondi say that it is sitting on her desk? Now she's trying to kind of change it or walk it back, saying that, well, this is a file about Epstein files. I didn't say that I had the files themselves, or something to that effect. Alphabet soup of words, if you will. Be that as it may, there are many accusers who are having memories of what happened when. What about that? Why are they not looking at it from the other side? Instead of top down, look at it from the bottom up. So internal dissent and public mistrust is continuing. People are not accepting what the Trump administration is saying. And now it's also going beyond just the suicide of Epstein. It's also going to chain of custody, digital transparency, and so on and so forth. Chain of custody is who gets to do what is the process involved, was the process itself broken, who took the video and then edited it out, where is the raw video. All these questions are also coming up now. First thing they want is the full unedited release of the files, disclosure of the editor's identity, and congressional oversight hearings. Now I'm also hearing that Mike Getz, who was first announced as the Attorney General and then he stepped down, could be a special prosecutor in charge of doing something about this, and that decision might come down the pipeline soon. We don't know. I mean, we have to wait and see what Trump does. By the way, the Genius Act passed in the Congress today, and Trump is signing it into law tomorrow. Today, as we record, today is the 17th of July 2025. It's a Thursday, and tomorrow Trump is expected to sign it into law. Like I told you, stable coins, all these things are now going to become like probably legal tender that you may be able to use using your phone at anywhere in the world. So these things are all coming just as we predicted in the currency series. Do watch that thing. It's a 5-episode series, and you can calibrate yourself. If you feel that you are going to be traveling a lot in various countries, stable coins such as Tether might be useful for you, because you would at your disposal always have dollars. Now, the bigger takeaway here is, would the stand that the Trump administration is taking now, would that drive away some of his core support base? That is the fear of many people. I'm sure surveys will start coming out about what they think of Trump's job rating and so on and so forth. And the stablecoin release is actually a good move in my opinion. US is not having a central bank digital currency, rather it is trying to take a slightly different route. We'll have to wait and see how well this gets accepted by the public across the world. Like I said, you can watch that 5-set series to understand which way the dollar is headed. Is this de-dollarization? You make the call, watch the videos, and you let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.